All Three Beards Media podcasts originate from the Gravitate Co-working Studio, sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company.
This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Would you like to sample some of my nuts?
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Old Man Strength. I am your host, Chris Shipley, with my special guest host from Side of the Storm, Dave Larson. Dave, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. You know, you kind of had me tricked out here because I'm so used to listening to this show on double speed that to slow it down for me really is playing tricks on my ears. But I'm really excited to be here. You know, I consider Old Man Strength sort of the OG of the Three Beards Media podcast. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely the OG. This and Bitter Units kind of started the whole deal. So, and it's 2024. We're off to a brand new start. So we appreciate everybody sticking with us. So Dave,
Chris, do you have a New Year's resolution then?
No, I never do New Year's resolutions because I actually started mine at the beginning of November. I went back to my nutritionist, started tracking my food, started going back to the gym consistently. I got a 2-month head start on that. I navigated the holidays just fine. I'm down 9 pounds since November. So I've continued. So I took a break in Memphis when we were in Memphis.
I think we all did. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah. So it's been good for me. It's been good for my mental health. So it's just nice to be back into a routine. Although the last couple mornings I did not get up for the gym because it was just too snowy and too cold, and
I don't blame you. You know,
bad.
And they do say that if you can start a routine, you don't use January 1 because you're more apt to fail. Start it at another day, so there's less pressure on you to get going. Make it a routine, and you should be good to go. And I agree with the snow. Do you shovel or do you plow with a?
Oh no, I snowblow. No, I snowblow. This is a famous story. I was once out there shoveling for like the 18th time one night, and Stacy came out and was going to offer to help me, and she said, "Did you buy another shovel?" And I turned around and said, "No, because the next thing I'm buying is a snowblower." And she said, "Well, wouldn't you rather to buy a new dishwasher?" And I said, "See that guy down the street that's snowblowing his house? I'll bet he's got both." And that didn't go over very well. But needless to say, the next spring I had a snowblower. So, I'm not. Yes, especially yesterday, I would have had a stroke trying to shovel that stuff.
Well, I've got a 3-lane driveway, and it about broke me. I sat there at work, so I got up early, shoveled, and then I sat through the day, and I was exhausted. I was so tired. Now we've got another 5 to 10 inches coming. They say it's going to be light and fluffy at least, so
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, our guest doesn't have to worry about shoveling anymore because he's not living in this godforsaken state. But I'll bring him on. I'll let you introduce our guest for the night.
So we've got former Iowa State Cyclone running back Mike Warren. Mike, you came on board with the program, and I think your redshirt year was 2014. And then that was under Coach Paul Rhodes, and then ran for 1,300 plus yards in 2015 in the redshirt freshman season. But let's go back. You're from Lawton, Oklahoma. Tell us a little bit about Lawton and growing up.
Oh man. Lawton, funny story. So just to give a little backstory, both of my parents are military. So we moved around a lot. We actually came to Lawton from Hawaii, where they were stationed at. So, just pretty much just went to Lawton High School there, played football, did pretty well, got a couple offers early on. And then I think Iowa State might've been my first Big 12 offer. Had the coaches come down, Coach Lou Iene, Coach Rhodes came down, and you know, it was pretty much, we hit it off from there. They came to my house, met my parents, and, you know, everything was good. You know,
So were those
so
coaches
I was
working on your
man.
parents just as hard as they were working on you?
Yeah. I mean, they were pretty hard on us, but you know, it not without good reason. You know, to this day, I even see, you know, why. I can see like the fruits of why, you know, they were hard on us, and you know, they just wanted us to be successful. So I think every parent wants their kid to be successful. Just, you know, there's different methods of doing it, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's all coming from a place of love. So
Yeah. So how old were you when you moved from Hawaii to Lawton, Oklahoma?
we moved there in 2011. So I would have been either 15 or 16.
So tell me the dynamics of the fact that your parents come to you and say, "Hey, we're moving from Hawaii and we're going to Oklahoma." That could not have been a super exciting thing. I know when I was a freshman in high school, I moved from Iowa to Phoenix, which you would think would be a great move, but I was super upset. I just started high school. I was leaving all my friends.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I can't
Yeah.
imagine
So
Oklahoma was super fun.
so I'm 20. So I was in Hawaii till 2010 or 2011, early 2011. I think we moved in the summer. So yeah, I actually had just started ninth grade, or I just completed ninth grade. So I started 10th grade in Oklahoma, in Lawton. It was a pretty unique experience. You know, there was, you know, small military town, you know, like one Ross, one Walmart, one movie theater type of deal. So, but, you know, I actually, now that I look at it, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that, you know, we went to Lawton, because there was not much to do there. So you can't really get in trouble or anything. So, you know, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And then once we moved there, you know, we had like, I enrolled in school. We had like summer workouts for football and everything. We met the Coach Breeze at the time. I think they're both retired now, but Coach Breeze at the time. I actually started out playing safety at Lawton High, you know, with I believe it was JV team. So played safety, slowly got moved to linebacker, and then I actually played DN my junior year, DN and running back at Lawton High. And like, not many people know that, but it's crazy. I was pretty decent. We just kind of had like a speed package, I would say. I would just come off the edge and go get the quarterback. So that's pretty much what it was. But up until that point, you know, I'm playing both at this point. There were a couple of injuries on the team, so I had the opportunity to start my first game. Later on in my junior season, started my first game at running back, did pretty well. And then heading into my senior season, I already had that momentum from last season. So, and then the colleges had rolled in too, like over the summer, because I did track as well. So, you know, I had to get my numbers down and everything, get my speed up. And then I had a good summer workouts. Had a good year there. So got a little bit bigger, a little bulkier. So, you know, everything just seemed to line up, you know, going into the senior season.
Now, were you interested more on the defensive side, or was running?
I actually like playing DN. Funny enough, it was actually fun, you know, playing both ways. I don't think I really had any looks at DN. You know, I was undersized, obviously. I was like 100, maybe like 180, playing like speed rush off the edge, but didn't really have any looks at DN. But running back, I started getting interest. I believe the first offer I got was Campbell College or Campbell University. I thought, you know, the whole world stopped at that point. I'm like, oh my God, my first offer. Like, what do I do? Like, I didn't know what to do. Because like up until that point, I was just playing football. Like, you know, I was just having fun.
Sure.
And, you know, they're calling me out of class. The coaches are calling me out of class. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't really have like any insight into how it would look like, you know, just garnering attention. So that was all new to me. You know, I'm 17 years old and getting called out of class and, you know, talking to all these coaches that are here. I mean, they're here for like other players too, but you know, it was just kind of a wild experience. I felt like at the time.
And I can imagine that unique skill set of the speed and the quickness that you had. I'm sure you showed flashes of that, playing that speed outside end on defense, and then turning back on the running back side of things. Was there certain? Were you aware by the time that you became a senior that were your coaches telling you, "Hey, you know, be ready because your number is going to be called, and we've got some college coaches calling us and showing some interest"?
Yeah, I think all throughout our summer workout program, you know, there were coaches in and out, just on the road. But I knew they had told me like to be prepared to like, you know, play this season because of that. But I didn't know to like what extent that would be, like toward like from the beginning of the season to the end of it. I didn't know what the extent of that would look like, and it was just mind blowing. Like,
So not a lot of people, I think, realize that Coach Campbell, when he was at Toledo, took a run at you there and recruited you there as well, along with Paul Rhodes. What are some other schools that were looking at you?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back in the memory banks. Jeez. I know Washington State, Tulsa. I honestly cannot remember for the life of me. Like,
I looked up your bio, Mike, and I have Wake Forest listed as well. As
Wake Forest was there as well. Yeah. Yeah, I really cannot remember. Like, that just shows you, like,
was Mike Leach at Washington State then? When
he was at Washington State at the time, yeah.
Well, we have something in common because actually, this is a long time ago. Again, we're old man strength. Mike Leach was early on in his coaching career at Iowa Wesleyan College in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. And I was recruited. I went on a recruiting trip to the small school out in the middle of nowhere in the dead of winter. And he was recruiting me to try to come play for he and Hal Mummy, who is known for the air raid offense that Mike Leach implemented and perfected in his coaching career. So kind of a small world there.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. So Paul Rhodes comes in. Talk about your recruitment with Coach Rhodes and what swayed your decision and what made you choose Iowa State.
I think just with the combination of, well, first off, Coach Lou Ianni, who's now in Denver with the Broncos. You know, I think him just, you know, coming to my house and, you know, really sitting down with my parents and you know, I think just seeing my parents' approval of them because, you know, they're really good judgment of character. And, I kind of look to them to help me with this decision. So, you know, I think just having their approval and, you know, them feeling good about it, and I also felt good about it, you know, that was pretty much a no-brainer for me. And also, too, my mom did want me to go to Tulsa just to stay close to home. But I felt my best opportunity was going to be with Coach Lou and Iowa State.
Now, was that an encouragement from your side to maybe get your parents to move a little bit closer on their next military trip to Iowa then? Or
it's funny because they actually moved further. Yeah, so we were in Oklahoma. Well, they were in Oklahoma. Well, now that I think about it, it was just me and my dad my senior year of high school. My brother and my mom had moved down to San Antonio because my mom got stationed at the Fort Sam, I believe, is the base down there. So I actually didn't see my mom we would take like trips down there, but we didn't live with them for like a period of time. So it was just me and my dad like for a little bit. But then my dad moved down there when I was in college. So yeah, they moved further away.
I bet that was hard having your parents kind of in different areas and different spots.
Yeah, but I think they knew they were going to be fine. I mean, we've moved all over the place like since I was young. So
sure,
you know, just another day. I guess another year for them, call it that.
Right.
But,
yeah.
They're strong with people, and you know they're used to holding it down in different places. So
So did Coach Iene and Paul Rhodes, did they bring you up for a recruiting trip? Did you have a chance to visit Ames before committing?
I did in the middle of winter, so that was fun. It was fun.
Man, you must have really
my
loved it. You must
visit
have
date-
really loved it.
Yeah, my visit date, it wasn't snowing, but there was a lot of ice out there, and I really didn't know what to think of it at the time. So, but yeah, I visited in January of 2014, and I went to a game at Hilton Coliseum. Pretty fun night. It was cool. I liked how, they still got all the same traditions. Even when I go back, it's still the same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They carried it out again last night against Houston. So
Man, I wish I could be there.
so
Well, and Chris was sharing that during your tenure at Iowa State is when a lot of new traditions started. So the black uniforms began, and Juicy
Yeah.
Wiggle also
Yeah.
started.
Yeah. So I think the black uniforms was probably the biggest shock for most of us, because we were always taught that we couldn't wear black because of the team out east. So
right.
when
Was
they
that-
bring in the black uniforms, that just brought like a whole new, I guess, swag or a whole new character to the team. So it was
So-
cool.
So settle a debate. Since being a player, I'll ask you this question.
Mhm.
Not me and not Dave, because we're old, but we're not, grumpy old men.
Yeah.
A lot of fans hate the black uniforms, hate them. Love
Really?
the Cardinal. Yeah, love the Cardinal gold. But as a player, that's kind of why they're right. Like they're catering to younger guys like you guys. That stuff is cool, right? Like you're looking forward to different uniforms, different combinations, that kind of cool. I mean, I'm resonant to say the word hip because I sound like an even older man than that when I say that word, but
You got to
you
say
get
they're
what I'm
fly.
asking, right?
They're fly,
right, fly.
Chris.
They're fly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
No, I think it's definitely for the appeal, not only for the players, but for recruits too. They see an all black uniform. If I'm a recruit, their colors are, cardinal and gold, but they have these black uniforms. They have these all white uniforms. That's appealing to, I think, maybe some fans, but I think it's mostly for the players and the recruits to, just show that, they can be flashy as well. So.
Now, your teams had that gray with the red stripe up on the shoulder.
Oh yeah,
Dark gray.
the Storm Rush jerseys. Yeah,
Yeah, those are. I sort of like those.
those were probably some of the most uncomfortable jerseys I've ever worn. I mean, I
Really?
think it was just the sleeve. The sleeve cuffs were just like they didn't really fit right over the pads for me at least. But no, the look of them was cool. I actually have one in my closet right now.
I actually have a David Montgomery one upstairs that I bought
Yeah.
at an equipment sale. So
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably got rid of all that stuff.
yeah, they did. They got rid of all those.
I don't
So,
know the last time. I think the last time we wore them, the grays was 2018.
Yeah, I think it was against
2018.
Iowa at home. I think
It might have
was the last-
been. It might have
Yeah.
been the gray with the. No, it might have been all gray with the red helmet.
Yes. Yeah,
think
and the red
so.
numbers.
No,
Yeah,
that would have
red.
been against San Jose State then.
That's right. You're right.
That would have been
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, while we're on the talk of uniforms, did you check out those Jack Trice jerseys that we wore this past year?
I did. I do think they look better than the ones we had before. I do. They had a little bit more flair to them. Kind of give that still vintage vibe, but a little bit new school.
So that's an interesting topic. Let me ask you that because I think Coach Campbell has done a lot to kind of bring Jack and his legacy to the forefront of the football program during the Rhodes era. Was it that prominently known? Did you guys talk about it? Was it more of an internal thing? Because I mean, it's everywhere now. It's on the side of the Stark Performance Center. It's on the helmets. It's on the uniforms and stuff. What portion of Jack's story did you know when you were playing there?
So we actually we have the statements that he made that night. We actually used to have them in the weight room. I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but I used to read those statements every time I walked in the weight room just because it was there. So we always, it was always in the back of our minds about Jack Trice and what he did and what he sacrificed. So, but today I think it's a little bit more um, I guess, flashed, just a little bit more present for people to see. I think it brings good attention for sure. But back then it was still a plant in the back of our mind. Just now it's just even bigger than it is.
Well, certainly when Chris and I were in school and we were there about the same time, in fact, we probably crossed paths more often than we knew at the time. But that was when they were going through the naming, and there was a lot of boycotts, a lot of students just standing up saying, we need to recognize Jack Trice and rename the stadium. And it went back and forth with the student body and the regents before it was finally changed over. So that was during our tenure. That was the big thing, is the renaming of Cyclone Stadium to Jack Trice Stadium. So we've obviously known about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it was that public as it is today. You're right. I mean, I think you walk up to anybody just walking around the mall or down the street and show them the 5 stripes, and they can tell you what it stood for. They may not know the entire story, but they'll know the name Jack Trice.
Right. Yeah, I think the name is definitely more well known than it was back then. Sometimes I get questions asked, you guys have the only stadium named after, an African American or a Black person. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that was also a pretty big honor to play in, just, for what it stands for, his descendants and, other people that look like him. So I think definitely playing in the stadium meant a lot more for me, and also, the sweet fans, you guys show up every night. I mean, it was just an incredible atmosphere to be in.
We've been there for
We've
been there for the coldest games on record, for the hottest games on records, for the wettest games on record. We've been through tornadoes, you name it. We've been there for it.
That's right. So let's talk about weather. You came up in January.
Yeah.
What's the coldest game you played in up there? And tell me a little bit about that. How terrible was it? What was the coldest game you played in?
It may not have been in Jack Trice. I would probably say in Manhattan. It was pretty cold.
Okay.
I can't even remember the coldest game I had in Jack Trice, though.
What was it? Talk about the Manhattan game.
Oh, that game was – I wasn't even playing in that game. I was redshirted that year.
Yeah.
It was probably the coldest game I've ever been a part of. I mean, I just remember going out in, the hoodie. We had, these little slim hoodies with our jersey over it. And, we didn't have, any, winter coats or anything. It was probably the coldest I've ever been. I don't even –
That's terrible.
I couldn't even recall, what happened in the game. I was so cold.
Well, none had it been miserable not playing that first year too. I mean, so
it was. They made it. We all traveled that first year. It was pretty much all the redshirt freshmen that traveled. But yeah, we were out there just man, if we got to come down here.
So how did that decision take us on the inside? How was that decision made to decide to redshirt your first year? Was that pretty common under the Rhodes era, or is that something that you and your family asked? Hey, give me a season to develop a little bit more. You made reference that you were a little bit skinny and you needed to add some bulk.
I would say that it was kind of a joint decision. Not many people know this, but I actually had a scope on my shoulder my freshman year. I got hit wrong one day in practice. I couldn't bench one day, and the weight room coach was looking at me what is going on? But I actually had an impingement on my shoulder, so I had to get a scope for that, and I was in a sling for about a month or two. And this was in the summer, so right before the season. So I think that, coupled with just needing to develop more, learn the playbook and everything, that was the decision that was made and agreed upon.
So 2000 and that season, the team was 2-10.
Yeah, I think we got 2-10. Yeah.
And then the next year, you had a chance then to come in, and the first couple of games, I don't think you played too much, but then you just busted out against Toledo with 200 or 120 yards, and that was a Toledo team coached by none other than Matt Campbell, who had tried to recruit you to go to Toledo. It was an overtime loss, but
Yeah.
It seemed to make a lasting impact on Coach Campbell. And then obviously that seemed to really kickstart you to a season of 1,300 yards plus in really 10 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that whole game was just, I can't even explain it. Just, I know for a fact that I was nervous just going in. But, I just did what I always do, just play football. I mean, just have fun, try to give us a chance. And, I didn't really expect like that kind of attention or like that kind of media just for, having that game. Because I was like, wait, it was only 120 yards. Like, what is everyone? I was just kind of confused, just because I was just, I guess, kind of comparing that to high school days. Like, I used to run for 350. Like, once I was kind of comparing it, but, not really taking into account this is, college. So,
Sure.
Yeah, I was just kind of confused after the game, but excited at the same time because, I got a chance to, at least showcase what I could do. So, was just thankful for the opportunity, thankful for Coach Lou for, trusting me enough to put me in. So.
And that was the same year, that freshman year, where you guys dismantled Texas Tech, led by Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
That was just like 66 to whatever it was.
66 to 31, I believe, was the final score. Yeah.
You want to talk about rushing? You also rushed for 240, 245 that game.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
Now, at that point, I'm still just playing football at this point. Like, I'm not thinking of anything else. I'm thinking of how can we not get blown out 66 to 31. So, I'm taking it in, but at the same time, I'm kind of saying even kill because I don't want to get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. So, just kind of taking that in, seeing how I can get better, always ways to get better. And, going into next week, I don't want to say I brushed it off, but at the same time, we're still in season. Like, there's other stuff to worry about other than, running for 245. So.
Okay, now stop being humble. Now, come on. This is
I'm being completely serious. Yeah,
we haven't rushed for 1 yard, so for you to rush for 245 or 126, that's a big deal for us.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You blew out Patrick Mahomes. Now tell me you're not bragging a little bit about that to some people even now today.
Well, now the year when we got them back, I was definitely bragging about that.
Okay.
I was 100% bragging about that. But yeah, not really, I'm just thinking, not really thinking of anything other than just what do we have to do next week to win. So
sure.
So what was that first season like with you as the starter? I mean, did you literally take it by game basis, or what was your preparation like each week and your studies and staying up with classes? What was your schedule like that first year?
Well, if there's one thing I had a coach that wouldn't let me go in unprepared. So, he was always, every meeting that we went in, he would always pull up a list of the rushing leaders in the NCAA. He's like, look, all these guys right here are better than you right now. So what do we have to do to get to this level? So that's the kind of coach I had, a coach that really pushed me to try to reach my full potential and, take every game with a grain of salt that, I'm not number one. So, that was kind of the mindset going in, like, I have to be the catalyst, I have to get this thing started.
So did Coach Ianni stay then when Campbell came in, or was that the point where he went to, I think, Ohio State?
No, so Coach Lou, he stayed for another year after they got there, and then he went to Northwestern after that.
Northwestern, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he was there. I believe they came in 2016. It was when Campbell and the staff came in. Coach Lou stayed there because he was at Toledo prior, obviously. And then he stayed until 2017. And I believe before the 2018 season, he was heading out.
I actually met Coach Lou. I might have been a week and a half after Coach Campbell was hired. I met him in an airport. We were both leaving for a flight for Dallas. And I remember walking up to him and just shaking his hand and thanking him for staying along and telling him how excited I was for the new regime. And I will always remember his exact words was, "This guy's a different type of cat." That's exactly what he said. And I was like, okay, well, I'm good with that. Then I'll take that. So,
oh man, that's funny.
Let's transition a little bit. Give me the biggest difference you think between Coach Rhodes and Coach Campbell when he came in. What was the biggest culture shift or difference that you saw where you thought things are going to be a little different now?
I just think starting out, just the amount of resources he was able to bring in. I know that we had great resources with Coach Rhodes, but in this day and age, it's like state of the art stuff that everyone has now. And so I think him just kind of progressing nutrition and, weight room schedules, practice schedules and stuff like that. We could see the difference between, how we were feeling. Because sometimes I think, at least going back to my first season, I felt tired, before the first game, coming out of fall camp or whatever. But, they kind of, I guess, formulated a way to work us smarter, not harder.
Okay. So, I know when I was going to school, I was there during the transition between Walden and Coach McCarney. And what a big difference you even just felt on the campus and things like that. Was there a buzz necessarily on campus about the change and so on as well?
Yeah, there was definitely talk about, the coaching change. And, as they brought Campbell in, they were talking about the accolades that he had in the MAC conference. And so, yeah, there was definitely a buzz and, a difference that we felt at least, going into that season, that first season with him at least, to where we felt, at least I felt a lot more confident. Not to say that I didn't with under Coach Rhodes, but, there was just a difference in how we prepared, I think, just going into that season that we all felt good about.
Sure.
Well, the good thing is Matt Campbell didn't have to go out to all the fraternities and the dormitories to beg people to come to the games like McCartney did, because back in the day, attendance had really dropped off. Mm-hmm. So McCartney, that was his first goal, is to bring in as many students as possible and just ask people to come, give us a try, give us a shot. You're going to like what you see.
Right.
So that running back. Go ahead.
I think along with the social media age up and coming at that time too, I think it garnered a lot of buzz, and I think people were reading into it. So
what was that first year theme? Was that the Win in the Dark theme?
It was Win in the Dark, yeah.
Okay.
I do remember that. Yeah. So that theme, I don't know. I think they did a news report on this or a story on this, but we would have morning weights, and we would have haunted house theme music playing, Michael Myers theme music, just all these serial killer theme music playing in the weight room, at all times. We would have the purge siren just blaring, as we're working out. But that year we really wanted to. It was all about extra work and what are you doing in the dark to set yourself apart from your opponent or whoever you're going to match up against that year. So
very cool.
Film study, extra, workouts, whatever it might be on the field, going in on Saturday mornings, throwing around, stuff like that.
So that was a theme not just for us as fans, but that was an internal theme that you were operating.
Yeah, that was stuff that we were actually doing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna take a quick break here from to get a word from our sponsors, Revelton Distilling Company, and of course our great partners at Gravitate Co-working, and then we'll come back. Dave, I think you want to ask him about the Oklahoma game in 2017.
Absolutely.
And
I want to
then
ask a little bit about that stacked running back room that you guys had.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
In that
So
2016 and 17 years. I mean, you had some really good players there.
Oh,
yeah. So let's get a word, and then we'll come back with Mike Warren.
Why take the best corn in the world and make it into fuel when you could make it into whiskey? That's the question that launched Revelton, Iowa's most visible and fastest growing distillery. Owners Rob and Christy Taylor embrace the grain-to-glass philosophy, sourcing ingredients locally and overseeing on-premises production and bottling at their facility in Osceola. One sip, and you'll agree that Revelton's handcrafted whiskeys, gins, and vodkas are the best you've ever tasted. And with the launch of their rye whiskey, made with 100% Iowa-grown rye and corn, and their new bourbon coming soon, there's more Revelton to love than ever. Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. The great thing about working from home is working from home. The worst thing is working from home, especially for face-to-face collaborations with customers and coworkers. And let's face it, coffee shop meetings are neither private nor professional. So skip the trip to Starbs and investigate Gravitate Co-working Space. For more than 10 years, Gravitate has provided large and small office and conference spaces perfect for hosting meetings, workshops, or other events, as well as private phone booths for confidential conversations. Plus, all spaces include secure fiber internet, free coffee, and access to a kitchenette. All you need is your laptop. Gravitate does the rest. And renting space at Gravitate is surprisingly affordable. An hour of office space costs about the same as venti caramel macchiatos and breakfast sandwiches for two. Daily and monthly rates are also available with no long-term commitment. Learn more at gravitatecoworking.com. That's gravitatecoworking.com.
Okay, and we are back. Gravitate Co-working. Obviously, you want to check those guys out. Get out of your basement like I do. Go rent an office space and so on. This is the beauty of a live podcast. The last 24 hours at Hilton. So Iowa State men beat Houston number 2, and the women just came back from 19 down to win by 10 against 21 West Virginia. So Hilton Magic is alive and well. This is in full effect. That's right. So, but Dave, go ahead and let's dive back in. I'll let you start with your question.
So 2016, that's Matt Campbell's first year, obviously, and I went and looked at the roster. You played with some really talented teams and individual players, and that running back room, I forgot how talented you guys were all together on the same team. I mean, how did that work, the relationship between all of you and with the coaches, and give us some insight on that.
Yeah, I think it worked pretty well. We all challenged each other. I mean, it was definitely a lot of talented people in that room that year. I mean, you had Dave, you had Sheldon, you had Johnny, Kane. Like you know, these guys are playing in the league now. So it's definitely a testament to like what we really had before people really knew, you know. But we always knew we had it is the crazy part. You know, at one point we felt we had the most talented room in the country. Like that's, you know, not to say that we were better than anyone, but that's truly how we felt, like collective as a unit. You know, we all did different things, you know, everyone had their own specialties. Like it was just so dynamic and everyone could do what someone else couldn't. And I think that's what made it special.
Well, and what I loved is that the coaching staff really used your talents to keep the defense off balance, because you'd bring in some power. There'd be some speed packages in there. Pretty much all of you could catch the ball as well, which then you don't know who's coming out of the backfield, who's staying to block. And a lot of you guys were really hard hitters on the blocking side too. I think we forget about Matt Campbell likes running backs that can block.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my coach always told me, well, Coach Lou always said, if you couldn't block at running back, you couldn't play. Point blank. So we took that very seriously.
So Chris had made reference to 2017. you guys, Jacob Park is the quarterback. He
Mhm.
steps away from the team. What were you guys' thoughts that game leading up to, or that week leading up to Oklahoma? I assume that you knew that QB1 was not going to be with you and that Kyle Kemp was going to step in. Did you think that what happened down there in Oklahoma was about to happen, or what were your thoughts going into that game?
We knew we had prepared for that game as well as we could have prepared for any game. I think just going into that week, it was definitely a different mindset. You know, we're going down in Norman. You know, the fans are going to be rowdy, whatever. It's also, you know, not personal, but, you know, a little bit of a vendetta because I was in Oklahoma, you know, playing football. But, you know, neither of the Oklahoma Big 12 schools, you know, rang or whatever. So, you know, it was going to be even sweeter for me, per se. So the one thing we always knew about K2 is what we called him, was that he was going to make the right decision every time, whether it was going to be the check down to the running back or, you know, maybe not, you know, throwing the ball so far on the post, just getting in the right pocket and then, you know, making plays with his feet. We didn't expect that. I can't lie to you. We didn't expect him to run down the sideline like that, like untouched. But when he scored, you know, we took it in, you know. But, you know, I think just knowing that we have a sure guy that can make the reads at quarterback gave us that confidence to go in that game and believe that we could win it.
Do you have any superstitions?
I actually don't. I didn't have any. No, I didn't have any pregame. All I did, I had the same routine I did pregame. I would always go down to the end zone, to the right corner pylon, and that's where I would start my warm-ups. And then, you know, I would just kind of talk to myself down there, you know, just getting myself ready for the game. That's probably the only thing.
Well, I asked because I've got a son who's 20 now, but as a kid growing up, if we're at home watching the game or if we're in Jack Trice, there were certain rules that we have when the Cyclones are doing well. And against Oklahoma, I recall sitting on the couch and I would not move from that spot on the couch because you guys are playing so well. And I didn't want to jinx you. And I had to use the restroom so bad that day, but I stayed in my spot for you guys.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one.
Mike, I will tell you, I told Coach Campbell this when I met him one time, but the 2017 team has kind of a special place in my heart because in September of that year, I was diagnosed with stage 2 esophageal cancer and wasn't able to go to the games. My wife made me stay home so I wouldn't get sick. And I remember distinctly, my first night home was the night of the Texas game. Later on, I'm going to ask you about that Bugle logo and how terrible it is. But we lost. That was the Wednesday night. I came home that night, and then the following game was the Oklahoma game. And I remember I didn't feel good. I felt like crap. I was 2 chemo treatments in. We went somewhere for a little bit, and I think I came home right before the game, and I laid on the couch, and I was so mesmerized by that game that team really kind of inspired me the entire year. The TCU game when you guys beat TCU later, and then I remember being in recovery at home after surgery, wrapped up in blankets on a couch watching the Liberty Bowl. So I don't know that you know how those things affect people, but that team and that year has always been special to me because just watching you guys fight and claw and win like that was a big deal to me. Yeah,
I mean, special for me too. My one and only bowl ring. So definitely a special place in my heart, that team. You know, it was crazy because we had beat Oklahoma that year, and then we had beat West Virginia. I think they were like ranked 3 at home the game after. So that year was definitely special. First time ever experiencing
TCU. That was TCU.
Sorry.
Yes,
TCU. Beating TCU that year.
I've actually got a photo down here on a canvas of Kyle Kemp in the middle of the field storming.
Mm-hmm.
I've got that photo down here in a canvas. So
yeah, it took me like 45 minutes to get off the field. I was just like, my helmet went missing. Like they took my helmet. I'm like, oh, they'll find it. I'm just trying to get out of here. I'm trying to go see my family. But no, that year was definitely special. You know, that
how many
team,
text messages did you get following that Oklahoma game?
oh man, everyone I knew in Oklahoma pretty much like was just saying congratulations. Like, oh my God, like you guys just beat us. But I honestly couldn't remember. Too many to reply to, probably.
So you Big 12 offensive freshman of the year. You ran for 1,300 yards. You have this running back room, and part of the reason why I asked you on is because, I think the world of you and your character. A lot of people would transfer, and I know you probably have heard this before. I'll tell another personal story. I have a football down here that's signed from that 2016 team. Your signature is on it. It's right above the logo. It's in my basement down here. And I remember when I got that, I was so excited because I just knew you were going to be the shit. Okay. Let's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I'm just as proud to have it down here because of the way that you handled yourself and the adversity that you had. And for whatever that's worth, why don't you talk a little bit about, because I mean, NIL and transfer rules and everything else now, a lot of kids would leave. A lot of guys would leave, and you stuck it out. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, it came down to, just not wanting to, for one, not leave a bad example for people that are going through things. There's always a way to persevere through it. Not only that, but I just felt like I feel like it would have been harder to restart somewhere else. There was no point transferring. I knew everybody here. I had connections here, especially my teammates. If I felt like I would have quit on my teammates, I definitely didn't want that negative light, even though they probably would have understood. But at the same time, I came to Iowa State to leave it better than I came in. So I think just being a mentor for the young guys and even helping the running backs out, just helping those guys reach their full potential. I think that was kind of my obligation as I came to Iowa State to, just leave it better than I found it. And as of today, I think it's in a good spot. So
it's definitely in a good spot. I'm going to ask you I want to ask one more question. NIL, Mike Warren is playing Iowa State, starting running back at Iowa State right now with NIL. What product do you want to hawk? What product would you market for NIL?
Oh, man. That's a good question. Oh, wow.
With a jersey number of 2, I'm going to say some
That's a great question.
Deuces Wild on there.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's actually a good one. Let me I have to come back to you guys on that. I hadn't even thought about that. I was just thinking about, man, we missed out.
Right? I know. I look at poor Reggie Bush. I look at poor Reggie Bush and think, man, that guy, they should give that guy's Heisman back in a bow.
You gotta feel for him.
And I would echo what Chris has been saying about you too, Mike, that the leadership and the maturity that you showed going through that adversity. I think as a fan, we all wondered, is he going to transfer? But at the same time, I mean, you're getting in some important time on that field, and you were mentoring some of those running backs. I mean, we're not talking about guys that weren't very good. I mean, we're talking about David Montgomery, who's drafted in the NFL, and well, should have rushed for 1,000 yards if it weren't for the. Or actually, it was Breece Hall that was 1,000. Did Montgomery hit 1,000 this year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he hit 1,000 in 17 and 18, I think.
Yeah.
And Sheldon Croney and Kane, who's up in Minnesota. I mean, bunch of talented guys that were there. And then it led to 2018, your senior year. You got a trip to the Alamo Bowl and had a very good team there led by freshman Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Did you envision playing with him that season that he would become the Brock Purdy that he is today?
We always knew Brock was a baller. I mean, he's kind of like we used to call him. I think the running backs used to call him Dirty Purdy because he used to do some crazy stuff. Like when the Oklahoma State game, when he first made his debut.
Oh yeah.
Dirty Purdy.
All right, so you got to give us a story on that one.
So the guy's just a baller. Like we came out, we knew, okay, we got a freshman at quarterback. Like we're gonna have to help him, protect him first and foremost as running backs. That was pretty much our main mission at that point in time to don't let him get any hits on the quarterback. First camp. But when he came out and just started making plays, we were like, who is this guy?
Had you seen that in practice up to that point? Okay. So no surprises then.
No surprise there. I think Brock has always been a baller. I mean, even coming in, always competitive. Has always been competitive.
Crazy. I'm going to take a quick break here. Dave, I'm going to let you ask the Kyle Lehman Wintrust Mortgage question. We're not going to play an ad for Kyle. I'm actually going to talk about a program that Kyle has going on right now. So Kyle, right now, if you are looking for a mortgage, certainly you want to hit up Kyle. But right now, they've got a great loan program for doctors. It's just been introduced, and it's designed for doctors that are buying their primary residence. So you can see, they have some great zero down payment options and low down payment options. So if you are a physician or a dentist or even a veterinarian, pharmacist, chiropractor, any of those, and you're looking at buying a primary residence, please give Kyle at Wintrust Mortgage a call and be sure to tell him that you saw it on the Three Beards Media Network. Okay, Dave, go ahead, and at this point, let's ask Mike the Kyle Lehman Wintrust Mortgage question.
Well, first, I want to ask Kyle, when is the discount for human resource professionals? Because I'm gonna give you a call as soon as those are available. But the Wintrust Mortgage question for you, Mike, is take us back 10 years. What would be the advice that you would give yourself, the Mike Warren of 10 years ago?
Oh man. I would say to trust your instincts on certain things, I'm gonna be vague about that. But I think just trusting myself more. And my abilities and what I could do. I think that would probably be the biggest lesson that I've learned to this day is to trust myself more.
That's fair. Yeah. One thing I don't think we've asked, what are you up to today? Where are you located and what are you doing?
I'm in Texas. I won't be specific about where I'm at, but I'm in Texas right now.
So you're warm.
Yeah. I'm actually doing account management for an IT company.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in the sales world right now.
Well, you and I might be in the same space. I'm the head marketing for a software IT company here in Des Moines. So
nice.
Yeah. So
I work.
Yet another similarity between me and Mike Warren.
Commonality, yeah. I work in the so with this IT job, I work in the federal space. So I work with a lot of. I mainly work with. I can't even say the customer name, but I work with a lot of integrators.
Okay.
Just doing IT work, IT projects, staffing, consulting, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Great. Well, we're gonna play our last segment, and then we won't take any more of your time. So this segment that we
you
have
guys
here,
have been great. I've been enjoying myself. So.
this has been great.
We are too.
And we probably should get you on Side of the Storm too, so you can talk some real live time football and basketball with Marcus and Brent and Dave on their pod.
To.
So this segment is we call it the STFU segment, where we had a previous guest, Steph Copley, who told the host of this show to shut the F up so that she could get her point across, which was the greatest. It was the greatest moment ever on this podcast. So we decided to sponsor that, and we invite people to donate to the Young Women's Resource Center here in Des Moines, Iowa. So let's get a word from Steph, and then when we come back, Mike, the whole point of this is that you get to talk some trash, okay? So Dave and I are not allowed to say anything, and you can say whatever you want, and we can't respond. So think of something, if you want to
track just about anything.
You can say whatever you want about anything. That's right. And Dave and I cannot react and cannot say anything. So let's play this ad, and then we come back. We're gonna STFU, and you get in. The floor is yours.
Hey everybody, it's Steph Copley, the woman behind the STFU segment on the Old Man Strength podcast. When I told the guys I wanted to sponsor this segment, they recommended that I make a charitable donation instead, so that's what I did. I chose the Young Women's Resource Center in Des Moines, Iowa. They're a nonprofit that supports, educates, and advocates for girls and young women ages 10 to 24. Their whole goal is to make sure that these young women become strong, self-confident, and successful. And if you know me at all, you know that aligns with my goals as well. If you're interested and would like to donate, check them out at ywrc.org and donate today. And remember, don't forget to STFU and listen every once in a while. Thanks.
All right, and thank you, Steph. Last month we did a nice fundraiser for them and was able to donate over $1,000 to the Young Women's Resource Center. Thanks in part to Revelton Distilling Company and their graciousness. So, okay, Mike, Dave and I will STFU. You get to say whatever you want about anything.
Oh man, I didn't have enough time to think about this. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna say it. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but honestly, I just wish all Cowboy fans, you guys should have been in the playoffs and won a Super Bowl. That's all I'm gonna say. So if they have anything to say about that, they could come at me, but I'm just speaking the truth.
And Dave's a Cowboy fan. It's so good. It's my one and only weekend. It's my one and only weekend. I'm rooting for the Packers, by the way.
Yeah, for the record, I'm just holding my breath because we've not won anything in 25 years. So
yeah,
I'm not saying anything until we get out of the first round of the playoffs. We have to win one first.
Okay, yeah. See, that's more reasonable. I have people down here in Texas just, we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, okay.
Seen it. I've seen it.
All right.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Dave gets to pull out his VHS tapes and watch the last time the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl.
I actually have those on VHS. Yes.
On
VHS. Championship seasons.
Right.
I have those.
There you
the last
go.
time they won was on VHS.
That's right. Yeah, it was in the mid 90s.
Jeez.
So I was just finishing college. How about that? That should tell you the last time the Cowboys played in the Super Bowl. So,
hey, Mike, do you still do you make your way up to Ames often, or do you stay in touch with any of your former teammates or coaches?
I do. So funny enough, one of my best friends, Sheldon, is actually coaching up there right now. I talk to him pretty much every day. Just, ask him why he's liking it and everything. And I still talk to Dave every now and then. Talk to Kene every now and then. Pretty much all the running backs I talk to, still keep in touch with, Alan Lazard, Willie Harvey, who also played in the league for a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of people I still keep in contact with, for sure.
Do you have memories of when Campbell came in and he started Victory Day? Do you remember those? Those
are some of my favorite days.
Okay, so I will bring up both my boys were in that when you were there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But I have this absolute amazing photo of David celebrating with my son Josh after he scored a touchdown, and I will hold this up for you.
Oh
It
yeah.
is my absolute favorite picture.
Yeah. Great picture.
Josh was celebrating and with David Montgomery. He broke my heart when he left the Bears. That's all I'm going to say. But
He's in a better place
Better,
now, Chris.
better
Stop it,
situation.
David.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Stop it, David.
Better situation. Better situation.
I think what broke my heart was when he kicked us out on the way out the door when he was like, "I want to go somewhere where I can win," and I was like, "Come on, man, can't be
But he's
twisting
winning.
the knife
They are.
when you're out on the way out the door." So
No, he's doing very well. Very well.
Yeah.
he is. Well, Mike,
And
I
Mike,
really
it sounds like if
go
you guys
ahead.
are in touch, you might have a chance or a way in to get in to see him when they play in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. I do need to go to a game. The only game I've been to this year was a Jets game. I wanted to go see Allen play against the Texans,
Oh yeah,
which they won.
that's been a rough year for him and Brees up there.
Yeah, I feel for him. But hopefully they turn it around. They had some challenges early on. So
Okay, so Detroit ends up in the NFC Championship game against Brock Purdy. Where's your rooting interest?
I'm gonna have to go with Detroit.
I assumed that you would. You got to be the running back,
That's
right?
my boy. I mean, we we were in the room together for 3 years. So, and also I hosted him on his visit to Iowa State. So that's my boy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your roommate? Did you have a roommate when you were up there?
My first year I did. Who was my roommates were, you probably may or may not remember these guys, but my first roommates when I got to Iowa State were Orion Salters, played receiver. DeMonte Ruth played corner. And then we had a JUCO transfer named Terry, which, those were my first roommates 9 years ago. But they've kind of changed throughout as I moved around in like different houses and stuff. So
Yeah. Josh and Jordan both got really close to Jamal Richardson when they did Victory Day. I'll tell you a funny story. So Coach Campbell's first year was the first year that he did Victory Day. And Jamal was very kind to the boys, and the boys invited him to go to Hickory Park after this was over. And Jamal's like, "Yeah, I'll come."
Yeah.
And the boys were like, "Oh yeah, invite your friends." And he invited Julian Good Jones.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the punt. I can't remember the name of the punter. And we were with some friends, and my friend kept saying, "Get whatever you want. We'll pay for it. Order whatever you want." And I finally was like, "Tim, he's a fucking offensive lineman, dude. I don't know that I have that kind of money to pay for that." But we paid for their dinner.
True.
And then a couple days later, Julian got suspended for the first game.
Oh.
And I remember my buddy going, "I swear to God, if we bought that dinner and it cost him because of an NCAA violation."
Right. No, I believe he ran the tab up. I actually still talk to Julian too. I talked to him a little bit as well.
We had Julian on last year, and I asked him, and he swore up and down it was not because of the dinner I bought him. So I just would like to get that confirmed. So, but those are great memories. So it's so funny.
That was great to see him finishing out the season with the Commanders too.
It surprised me.
Commanders,
I was like, "Julian, you didn't tell anyone." He was like, "Yeah, he's just kind of vague with everything." So, but no, I've talked to him as well a little bit.
Well, we would love to have you on again, possibly on Side of the Storm and some other things. And if it's all right, I would love to be able to text you every once in a while and just pick your brain if that's all right. So
yeah, no, for sure.
Maybe use your contacts to get some of those guys on, and we'd love to maybe do a big reunion show on Side of the Storm or something with some of you guys. That would be super fun. So, Mike, really appreciate you coming on with us. Very honored, and like I said, personally, I admire you a lot. So thank you very much.
No, thank you guys for having me. You guys have been excellent hosts, and the questions were great. Honestly.
Well, Dan McCarney did call us a professional, so I'll hang my hat on that all day long. So
I did see that.
Dave, you got anything else to finish up?
Yeah, really, the pleasure's ours, Mike. You know, we're big admirers of you as a player, as a person, and seeing the growth that you had and the maturity that you displayed throughout your career. And we will certainly continue to follow you and hope that we're able to be in touch. And if you make your way up to Ames, we'd love to host you for a tailgate as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I think the last time I was in Ames was against Iowa, and it was college game day. That might have been 2 years ago now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make it to one this year, but no, I plan on coming to one this year for sure.
So is that the college game day where just all hell broke loose?
Everything fell apart
and the rain and
yeah.
I think that was 2019.
That was was it 19? It was 19.
Yeah, that was the
That was
Carson
19.
King year, and that was just all crazy. So the
Yeah.
rain
A
delay
lot
and
happened,
everything.
and then we had
Rain
COVID
delay,
the next
yeah.
year, so there was no game, and then came back in 2021.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We are super excited to be back for 2024. We've got great new content. 3 Blind Refs go tomorrow. Ball Don't Lies tomorrow. Hawk's Eye View. We'll give them a shout out. And we may even be retooling Bitter Units. So we are ready to go. And with that, we want to thank everybody, and we are out of here.